What's up, everybody? It's Clark here for the BOS Sports blogcast. Here's Atlanta Hawks had a double-digit victory over the Indiana Pacers, 132-116. They're now on a 3-game winning streak after the victory today at State Farm Arena. Jalen Johnson, another solid outing, 15, 7 and 6. Hopefully he's awarded to the NBA All-Star game as a reserve and maybe even a possible replacement starter if someone gets injured. Though today was all about the Atlanta Hawks guards as Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, CJ McCollum, and Luke Kennard combined for 79 of the Atlanta Hawks' 132 points. This is Quinn Snyder's system working. The motion offense, 5 out, 4 off offense, motion offenses are working good, getting good looks. New Hawks, CJ McCollum, Corey Kispert are more settled in. Today, shades Atlanta Hawks. What the Pacers did to the Cavaliers and Knicks last season, 2025 playoffs. Of course, the Pacers, they had those huge come-from-behind victories. They're having those modest to huge, maybe not so huge sometimes, but they're in that fourth quarter. They would actually absolutely dominate, flip the script, just as the Hawks did, as they had a small deficit to the Pacers there late in the game. The Hawks in the fourth quarter completely turned it around. Shades of last year's Pacers, what they did in the Knicks Cavaliers. Aforementioned, for Atlanta Hawks, they're now on a 3-game winning streak in a soft spot in their schedule. These 3 games were highly clutch. And can't emphasize that enough, as their struggles to start the year are well documented, especially right after that Trae Young trade, as they were on that road trip there and struggling. The Hawks are now 3 games ahead of the Milwaukee Bucks in the season standings, 3.5 games ahead of the Hornets, a likely more dangerous threat for the Hawks as the Bucks are looking at trading Giannis Antetokounmpo. We'll get to talking about that later in this episode. But as well, looking at the Hawks being the 10th seed in the East, still in the play-in with a little bit of comfortable padding. They would pair up currently versus the Miami Heat, the 7th seed, which would be a fun rivalry play-in series if it comes to be. It's crucial the Hawks finish high as possible in the season standings, get our young core players playoff experience, and help the Suns help keep the Spurs out of the lottery pick. Atlanta Hawks currently at 23-25, or 12th in the league, and a stone's throw away of getting the Spurs out of the lottery. The Blazers are 13th at, I believe, 25 and 25, just ahead of them. They just lost today to the Celtics. The Blazers have been a little bit hot recently as they're starting to figure out their young pieces. We'll get to a little bit other scores, highlights, and things of that nature later on in this episode. New Hawks, Corey Kispert and CJ McCollum are starting to gel with the team as well. Maybe potentially reinforcements on the way. Zach Gallen, been reported by team reporters, is now day-to-day as he was oddly assigned to the G League team, the College Park Skyhawks. He did not play a rehab game, as I speculated they might do. Kristaps Porzingis, as reported by reporters as well, he'll be reevaluated in a week. So potentially a little bit of reinforcements on the way. Still potentially see them traded. We'll see who becomes available, and we'll talk about potential trade scenarios for the Hawks here later in this blogcast. Be sure as well, use my new NBA trade simulator at bosports.blog. Notice an error on there the other day. It does not have dead salaries, so Damian Lillard's salary for the Milwaukee Bucks does not exist on there as it properly should. Count is still a little bit off, but the Bucks are still under the first apron. Most of the rules and everything should work unless you're going to trade them a lot of salary or something. So, 7-team trade, break the record. 8-team trade, break the record from just the last offseason or the offseason before. Bunch of salary to the Bucks. Wouldn't quite make sense even if they trade away Giannis. So, after the Celtics, Wednesday, the Hawks play the Celtics this Wednesday on the road. Rematch, of course. Hawks played the Celtics just last week, and it was a gritty game. The Hawks got quite blown out that game, to put it lightly. So After that, Hawks face Heat, Jazz, Hornets, and Timberwolves, all competitive teams. Like seeing this offense and organization, offense, defense shape up a little bit as we did here in the fourth quarter today. And hopefully that trend continues. 3 key stats. Of course, whether or not team wins the basketball game, that is field goal percentage, rebounding, and turnovers. The Hawks, they won all 3 as a clean sweep. 50% field goal percentage to Indiana Pacers, 46.2. Hawks rebounds, 46, Indiana, 42. The turnovers, 14-16. So for the Hawks as well, 2-way players, Caleb Houston, still on assignment, G League. Nikola Jurizic, will we ever see him here on the Atlanta Hawks? Asa Newell, he was assigned as well over the weekend to the College Park Skyhawks. They have a game tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see if he plays. Potentially rejoins them, the Hawks in Boston. My thoughts is Asa will probably stay with College Park for at least this road trip. The Hawks are playing Celtics and then Pacers later on. And then probably see him again maybe as soon as next week or maybe a little bit further down the road as well. For Pacers, Tony Bradley, DNP, as both teams use most of their active players today. Inactive, I believe, Obi Toppin, Tyrese Halliburton, Taylor Peter. So aforementioned, it was a tale of the quarters as Indiana outscored the Hawks 38-34, and that 4-point lead remained at halftime as Pacers led by 4 at the half after both teams scored 26. Then the Hawks, they started cooking. 35-28 in the third quarter, getting the lead. Things looked a little bit dicey going in the fourth quarter. Pacers cutting the lead a few times, but the Hawks established dominance with a 37-34 point fourth quarter. Aforementioned CJ McCollum, monstrous day. 2 rebounds away from a triple-double. 3 assists away from a triple-double. That is, if he had both of them, or a double-double with one of the other stats. 3 steals and 1 block. Active on defense. Wizards fans say he couldn't play defense. Well, he certainly did today. Dyson Daniels, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. Assist away from double-double. Steal block as well. 35 minutes. Holy cow. Mikhail Alexander-Walker, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. 6 for 6 from the free throw line. That's nice. All of his field goals came on 3-point attempts. We want to see him get some paint buckets. We and Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Luke Kennard, 13 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Perfect day from field, 4 for 4, 3 for 3 from 3-point land. Jalen Johnson, little bit of struggle shooting day. Still beefy stats. 4 steals with those 15 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. And of course, why not a block too? Corey Kispert, he's been often the starting lineup. I've mentioned he's added rebounding and defense. Well, today he did not add rebounding as he had 0 in 17 minutes. Bo Gay, 6 rebounds, 7 points. Might still see fluid options there in that starting rotation. It'll be nice when Zachary Riche comes back. Hopefully he can figure it out on defense with IQ, and I still believe Zachary Riche has all the tools. Be a great defender. Physically, he just seemed to react a little bit oddly in some situations. Of course, he has those fouls. It was a famous game. I can't remember the matchup 2 weeks ago. Of course, Riche had those 5 fouls early in the fifth quarter. Quinn Snyder left him in. He had a nice third and fourth quarter until he eventually did foul out. Pascal Siakam for the Pacers, 26 point, 9 rebound, 4 assist game. He was having his way there whenever Onyeka Nkagu was a rim protector on defense. He's often breaking down defense, drawing fouls, getting to the rim. Those long arms of Pascal Siakam, highly effective over Onyeka Nkagu once he got past his defender. Christian Koloko, when he's in there, a little bit better faring. See how Christian Koloko did. 3 blocks. Nice rim protection there for Atlanta Hawks in just under 17 minutes. 12 points, 4 rebounds. right, we got to get to our play of the game. Dyson Daniels, my goodness, he took a body today. We got to get to that in just a minute. Before we do, let's take a quick break. This is the BOS Sports Blogcast. Dyson Daniels, absolute monster dunk on Michael Potter, absolute poster we'll get to in a second. Should be a top 3 play in all sports today, if not the top 1 overall. Here we go. Jalen Johnson bringing up the floor. CJ McCollum screen. Dyson Daniels. Micah Potter never saw it coming. A nice screen play by CJ McCollum and Dyson Daniels. We'll hopefully see more of that as this these new players, CJ McCollum, Corey Kispert, and gel in with this Hawks roster. All right. So, trade rumors. Jaren Jackson Jr., he's been a new name I don't think I've talked about in my blogcast yet. Not quite seeing the fit with Jaren Jackson Jr. with this Hawks roster. So, I'm not sure how I would accept that trade under any circumstance. Maybe Kristaps Porzingis draft capital, a little bit of late decade or early 2030 draft capital. Something negligible for the Hawks. I'm not very high on the idea, but if you're having Kristaps Porzingis on the roster, he's not playing. Jaren Jackson Jr. is absolutely stalwart player. He's just a little bit more of a forward to me than a center. Not quite what the Hawks need. I think the Hawks already get a lot of what Jaren Jackson Jr. brings to the game. Al Onyeka at the 5 spot, so I don't quite see that as a fit unless Kristaps Porzingis is going to be not serviceable the rest of the season. And so I don't really see that as a fit trade-wise for either the Hawks or the Grizzlies. Grizzlies should be able to get something a lot better than my proposal. So, down the list, Anthony Edwards, Hawks dream star. LeBron James compared Jalen Johnson to Scottie Pippen. A lot of comparisons to Anthony Edwards to Michael Jordan. So you'd have Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, 2026 edition. I think it'd still be a great ad for the Hawks. I'm going to have to use the BOS Sports blog app and check out those financials. Fortunately, did not get to that before I did. I think Anthony Edwards has a $50 million something contract, so that would probably be something like something in addition to Reza Shea and Kristaps Porzingis. It'd probably look like Onyeka Okongwu might make the most sense salary-wise, or Luke Kennard's expiring salary-wise, but it does not quite make sense for either team, really, those pieces. So, something still a dream for Hawks fans. And as well, as much as the Timberwolves were reeling and fell in the play-in game, they were absolutely creaming the Warriors last I looked. Hopefully we'll see that in this goodness. Alperen Sengun, 33-point game. Thompson, 4 turnovers. I got that in the ticker. Anytime someone's got so many amount of turnovers, I put in the ticker. Cannot have always good stats in there. Gotta have the bad too. Paint a full picture of what happened in the game. All right. Moving along. Giannis Antetokounmpo, looking almost certain he'll be traded. Again, I'm not sure if the Hawks can make him the best offer from... Here we go. Warriors Timberwolves, 102-79. The score hasn't changed too much. 2 minutes, 50 seconds. Julius Randle, 6 turnovers. My goodness. Rudy Gobert, double, 15, 17, double-double's always in the ticker. Dante DiVincenzo, 9 turnovers between two players they traded for the Knicks. That's some dirty work. Is that 10? That's some dirty work. All right. Hornets, they're on uptick. Jeez. Nearly 40-point blowout of bona fide playoff team, currently 76ers. It'll be interesting to see if any of these bona fide playoff teams fall. It would certainly help the Hawks if they did. But back to Giannis. Got distracted for a second. Looking likely that he'll be traded. Of course, they're 18-26, have 5 less wins than the Hawks. In the standings calculation, they're 3 games back. Not sure if the Hawks can make the best offer for Giannis where they are right now, but he'd certainly be an interesting piece. And of course, whenever players are out with injuries such as Zachary Shea and Kristaps Porzingis have been, there's always speculation. Everyone knows who's watched my videos. I'm very high on Zachary Shea, so I think him along with substantial draft capital would be a great package for the Bucks. I'm not sure. Another team out there might have a 2026 pick, and we're probably not going to include the best of the Bucks or the Pelicans pick. The Bucks want their pick back. I don't think we want to give it to them, so not sure if Giannis trade would quite work for the Hawks. If we give them the Spurs pick and then just whatever else that's not the Pelicans or Bucks pick, that might make a lot of sense for the Hawks to get that deal done. So, before we move on to baseball's upcoming. Lamp Rays, pitchers, catchers reporting in a few weeks here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the BOS Sports ball toss game. Create a little game here on this website, bosports.blog, where you can toss a ball. It's a nice little game. It's probably like a 30-second to 1-minute game. It's not quite a it's not a 2K basketball simulator. Who knows? Maybe I'll add some players, and I think they'll probably have to be fictional unless I license it to this. So here we go. BOS Sports ball toss. So you can just go bosports.blog. Then there's a ball toss link, or you can go to balltoss.bosports.blog. And the key to this, use your fingers. Intuitive game, easy to do. Slide your finger up there, all the way to the top, get full extension. That's how you get the ball in the hole. You gotta have full extension to get the ball in the hole. You don't have quite full extension. See here, not quite full extension. The ball doesn't go in the hole. And then you can aim it all different directions, but you want to aim it at the hoop. If you don't, the ball doesn't go in the hole. And that's BOS Sports ball toss. I need to work on this name input thing, as currently I put a profanity filter. It's filtering out things that are not profanity, so might have to get creative with whatever name you put in as far as username. And then there's a high scores registry. I'm currently playing this on wide view on mobile. Probably viewing it vertical would be easier. You also open up the Beats player. All right, enough of this. Enough of this tossing balls. There's the Beats player. So, huge change to Major League Baseball this season in the rules for the Major League Baseball's entire existence. The ball and strike zone has been somewhat subjective, as it's been called by an umpire. And this year, after several years of trials in the minors and I believe a little bit in spring training, Major League Baseball is including an automated ball strike system where there is a digital component to whether or not the strikes can be reviewed. And there's a couple signals. Remember tapping on the head for a batter. Signals call review, ABS, challenge system. See how this impacts the game. It has been stated that the ABS system will not be linked up to any broadcast squares. So we might see broadcast strike zone squares go away because of this new Major League Baseball rule. Something to keep in mind going into the 2026 Major League Baseball season. And for my team, the team I'm a fan of, the Atlanta Braves, I think it will benefit our hitters substantially, as the Braves always seem to get the short end of the stick on calls at plate with their strike zones. And I think this is huge for Atlanta Braves, especially in a couple of those Phillies series, 22-23. Phillies beat them fair and square, but umpires, a few bad calls, could make a big difference. While pitching-wise for the Braves, I think this ABS challenge system will hurt, as I would say, although I would point out less often, then our horrible padding calls that we get. Our pitchers get strike calls in situations that completely change the trajectory sometimes of what they're doing. We see guys just on the ropes sometimes, the Braves. 2 or 3 runs, and then they get a call out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, the Braves are out of it, and things are not so bad for them, and their stats not so bad in the season. Stuff like that when they should have been worse. So I think it will hurt our pitchers. It'll probably hurt a lot of pitchers, and it'll be something that won't be finite going in the season, being able to predict, and will be a huge variable into trying to predict any kind of season standings. So it could be a huge deal, especially for the Braves. Fear it could be something that tips the scale of what could give guys a rough start to the season. Any rough start to the Braves season for the pitching would be an absolute killer for morale. We just do not have the same fight in this Braves team. We've not seen the same fight in this Braves team last couple seasons as we did in 2022, when they, of course, caught up with the Mets and won the division, winning it there in the last couple days. Speculate that potentially left with vocal leaders and leaders by example in Dansby Swanson and Max Fried. Both themselves, though, are teetering on edge of making their contracts look bad. So they got to perform well for their new teams as well. X factor to be determined. So other thing notable about pitchers catchers reporting is after players report to spring training, teams are then eligible to put players on the 60-day IL, with top free agent starting pitcher Zac Gallen still on the market, unsigned. Put Framber Valdez in that category too. I would not be surprised at all if the Dodgers, after their players reported, after it became able to do so, put someone like Roki Sasaki or Yoshinobu Yamamoto who carried the Dodgers team last October on the 60-day IL and signed Zac Gallen. It would be peanuts money-wise for him for his projection. At least comparison what they spend. So, baseball fans, brace yourself. The next lockout doom move is about to happen. And even if there's a lockout next season, what's Major League Baseball going to do? Make a competitive balance draft where these Dodgers have to get rid of all these players they've amassed? Lockout's really not going to change much next couple seasons. The Dodgers have an unbelievable juggernaut. The Braves are absolutely reeling. The Mets have put together a nice team. Mets currently look more deep than the Braves do overall roster-wise. As far as being able to contend for a division, I'm scared of the Braves starting rotation. We have players we're counting on who've been injured often in their career. The Mets pitchers, some of their lesser performers, not so much. They've always been there. I definitely rate the Braves lineup. Give them an advantage. I think they're a little bit better. But who knows? They added Jorge Polanco, Marcus Semien, a whole host of players. did the Mets this offseason. Maybe they'll gel a little bit better. Brandon Nimmo did seem like a little bit of an odd fit with them after he struggled after signing that contract. Doesn't that ring a bell, Braves fans? Players who've struggled since signing the contracts. We've had quite a lot of them. Matt Olson, players who are the exception. Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna Jr., Ozzie Albies, of course, until recently, but that was after he signed the contract. He had all those nice years for the Braves. Contrast, we have Austin Riley, who's never performed up to where he was at the level prior to signing that massive extension. We have Sean Murphy. Forget about that. We got Spencer Strider. Hopefully he turns around this year, but he's a huge extra factor for the Braves too. And it's just devastating after his elbow injury. Hopefully he stays healthy and all those things. So worried about the Braves rotation. From what I see from the Mets, what they compiled, they look pretty good, pretty deep. Of course, we'll have prospects like J.R. Ritchie come up in the season at some point. Hopefully not soon. So, get ready, Braves fans. A lot of tense days ahead, as we definitely don't want to see them have a repeat of the last couple of years. So, for the Braves as well, potentially signing one of these remaining free agent pitchers. There's also Chris Bassett, Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer. The Dinos are still out there. They wouldn't cost a qualifying offer, as Zac Gallen and Framber Valdez would, so still solid options. I don't know. After they signed Cole Hamels in 2019, a double-edged sword. They always said, even though he never played, he was a great influence on the clubhouse. The pitchers around him. Maybe Scherzer or Verlander could rub off a little bit on our pitching prospects. All right. Well, before we go, take a quick break for station identification. This is BOS Sports Blogcast. Next episode of BOS Sports Blogcast is to be determined. Be sure to stream previous episodes of BOS Sports Blogcast, stream Bar Soap music on your favorite platform, and see you next time after next episode.